Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our morning coffee time for Saturday, June the 27th. How's everyone doing this morning? Did anyone catch Lumpur Viradhammo's talk yesterday? And if so, what did he talk about? I wasn't able to catch it. So today, Ajahn Sudanto is giving a talk from Chithurst on Zoom. So I saw a reminder for that on the Portland Friends of the Dhamma e-group this morning. So there's information there, but also I think the information on Zoom is published on Dhamma Tracks, his blog or website. So what a fortunate time to practice Dhamma. There's a lot out there. So on yesterday I was previewing some of the recordings and submissions that are going to be included in the event for the Portland Friends of the Dhamma tomorrow. So, and I'm sure many of you are aware of that, but there'll be a full day event, or nearly a full day event, online for the Portland Friends of the Dhamma. And monks from Abhaigiri, Lumpur Pasano, Lumpur Pasano, Ajahn Yanako, and I'm not sure who else will be doing a fairly extensive program in the morning. And then myself and Ajahn Sudanto will be maybe tuning into a little bit of that, but we have our meal and guest tomorrow, and then plugging in midday. So if people, not sure where they are with registrations, but they had a limit of, I think, 100 people that could watch and participate live, and then it's all being recorded and be available afterwards if people are interested in that. So details are over on pdxdhamma.org. So thanks, Dhammapala. Lumpur V talked about the gradual path and non-reactivity. Oh, that's good. I'm going to have to go look that up then. So thanks for giving me some extra encouragement. So, and one more thing here. Good morning, Adrian. Ajahn Amro and Ajahn V are also giving talks tomorrow. I think we're going to have to start like a television station or something. Yeah, almost enough live Dhamma talks and reflections and meditations, and then, of course, a enormous back catalog from the decades. Just kind of tune in whenever you want Dhamma. Yeah, TFTV, Thai Forest TV. I think we do have that identity, Thai Forest TV, but I think I'd try to find something that's a bit more broad and inclusive. Dhamma TV. I like that too. See, Ajahn, your direction yesterday to focus on being with the breath without anxiety, without doubt was very helpful. I've been noticing how much discontent I bring into my meditation, and labels helped. Yeah, good. I've been reflecting on the last day or two, just occasionally various words, and maybe this is what you mean by labels, but various words and images create a skillful means in our practice. And the word that's been coming up for me, like I'm always tuning into my meditation and feeling like, where is it stuck or where's the obstacle? And sometimes a word kind of pops up. And as I'm like just feeling how the meditation is progressing and where I am with the process of settling and developing the kind of requisite energy. And the word release was coming up. It's like I still feel stuck. Still feels like when one is still under the influences, one still feels stuck, attached, holding. And I was thinking about this both physically, they're still holding in the body, like in a state of deep serenity. Part of what is so pleasant about it is it feels like the most profound sense of release, both in body and mind. Like it feels like every little muscle, everything that could be tight, every little bit of holding falls away or is washed from the experience of the body and the mind. And of course, the experience of that is a profound feeling of ease, spaciousness, release. I mean, we know what it feels like to be grasping, and we're all so used to it. And as we move through the day, there's a relative sense of ease and relaxation and release that we experience in various levels, but never so profound as what we can access through skillful meditation. And I can image the whole thrust of the path is developing the skills to notice how it is that we're holding on, where there's dissonance, where there's tension, where there's heat, where we're stuck. And it's about getting unstuck and moving towards release. Whether in body or in mind. And one of my other favorite ways of sensing dukkha and contemplating dukkha is as the experience of dissonance. So there's a dissonant nature to the feeling of dukkha, both in the body and in the mind. And, I like it that too, the tension, or you could even see the dukkha vedana, like the pain of dissonant sounds. They're grating, there's a kind of tension there. And then the peace that comes with release. And of course, skillful musicians play on that, building that dissonance or tension and moving towards release. I'm a long ways away from my music theory days, so I won't try to extend that analogy much beyond that. But it's a nice thing just to bring to mind. Like, what is it we're doing? We have to constantly be reframing what it is that we're about, and what is it that we are trying to do in our practice. Just trying to be aware isn't enough. Like, that does not accomplish right effort. That does not accomplish right mindfulness. And one very easy way to guide oneself is we should be sensitive to and noticing where there is dissonance, where there's holding, and invite ourselves to move towards release, to letting go, to shedding. And it reminded me of Shelley's question the other day. How do we know we're on the path? How is it that we know we're on the path? And I gave a couple, I think, acceptable answers. But one of the things we should be seeing, like whether it's a sign or the scenery on this journey, we should be seeing signs of release. We should be experiencing release. Both directly, like in the here and now, like, just even now, you can tune into your body. There's always some tightness or tension, some sense of holding. And just when we notice that and it comes into awareness, see if we can release whatever tension, tightness, holding, dissonance there is. And the same in the mind. We get ourselves tied up in all kinds of knots with our proliferations and our obsessions and our worry. And as I said several weeks ago, just get yourself free. Move to release, to resolution. Yesterday when I was thinking about this, I was remembering this very famous sutta that the Buddha delivers to his foster mother, Gotamī, or Mahapajapati. And it's a really beautiful teaching. She, shortly after her ordination, she's wanting to go off and practice, and she asks the Buddha to give her a teaching in brief that she can hold in mind so that she knows that she's on the path, or put another way, so that she knows she's practicing correctly. And just thinking about this quality of release, developing skill in release, I was thinking about the taste of Dhamma is the taste of release. And it reminded me of that sutta, so I went to sort of look at a couple translations to see if I was remembering that as one of those qualities. And it doesn't quite sort of line up, but for people who are not familiar with this, and even for those who are, it's a beautiful sutta to kind of revisit from time to time. So I'll just pull it up. It is, and it's brief, so it's good for the morning coffee. So this sutta comes from the Anguttara Nikaya, which is the collection of numbered sayings. It's in the Book of the Eights, because there's 8 qualities that the Buddha is giving to Gotamī so that she can keep herself on the path. At one time, the Buddha was staying near Vesali at the great wood in the hall with the peaked roof. Then Mahapajapati, Gotamī, went up to the Buddha, bowed and stood to one side, and said to him, "Sir, may the Buddha please teach me the Dhamma in brief. When I've heard it, I'll live alone, withdrawn, diligent, keen, and resolute." "Gotamī, you might know that certain things lead to passion, not to dispassion, to being fettered, not to being unfettered, to accumulation, not to dispersal, to more desires, not fewer, to a lack of contentment, not contentment, to crowding, not seclusion, to laziness, not energy, to being hard to look after, not being easy to look after." You should definitely bear in mind that these things are not the teaching, not the training, and not the teacher's instructions. You might know that certain things lead to dispassion, not passion, to being unfettered, not being fettered, to dispersal, not accumulation, to fewer desires, not more, to contentment, not lack of contentment, to seclusion, not crowding, to energy, not laziness, to being easy to look after, not being hard to look after. You should definitely bear in mind that these things are the teaching, the training, and the teacher's instruction. So, just a nice, beautiful, short teaching. I don't get my word resolve there, but dispassion, unfettered, non-accumulation, having few desires, and contentment, all very closely related qualities. So, contentment, seclusion. Just one comment about some of the word choices here too. On Sutta Central, there is, I think, 12 or 13 other translations. So if people are interested, it's interesting to compare these sometimes and see what different translators pull out from that. This quality that's pointing to, here it's like to not crowding. Other places in the Suttas, the Buddha's talking about, not being given to spending too much time sort of socializing or trying to find, like, in my language, like that's a big part of your strategy for happiness and contentment. And especially in talking with monastics here, Gotamī, the first nun. So, and then the last one here, not being hard to look after. The Pali word is subaro, which literally means a good burden, or you could say a light burden or a right burden, but subaro. A bara is a burden, and this has a special importance for monastics. There's lots of encouragement in the different teachings to monastics for them to be subaro, to be easy to take care of, not burdensome, because we've given up the home life for the homeless life, and we live dependent on the generosity of others. So it's an important quality to be easy to take care of. But we can extend this into, I think, all of our lives. It's a skillful quality to be somebody who's easy to get along with, easy to care for, easy to please. Don't make yourself into a piece of work. So, Anguttara Book of the Eights, 8 qualities. I like to think of this as the taste of Dhamma. Like the Dhamma has these flavors to it. And it's a beautiful way to kind of measure. We often talk about the fetters and being a sotapanna and the Eightfold Path. In some sense, this is a more poetic or humane, a simple kind of way to be measuring where one's practice is taking one and where one can focus their energies. So let me kind of look and see if we got comments here. Maybe I'll work backwards today, starting at Gustavo. Good morning, Gustavo. The Sutta says to fewer desires, not without desires. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. We are going to have desires. That's part of the usefulness of this word, tanha, a technical word. So it's not, tanha is born of ignorance. So it's like the spiritual unknowing and the kind of relationship that we have to desire that creates suffering. So, but it takes quite a bit of work to develop our practice to understand really what the Buddha's getting at there. We have to know the experience of suffering and at least some sort of relative freedom from suffering to get a sense, and then also take the Buddha's advice and teachings kind of seriously to mind to investigate our relationship to desire. So, but moving towards fewer desires. Good morning, Jay. Is the experience of releasing tension or letting go of a stressful mind state an example of the cessation of suffering? Yeah, maybe with a small c. It's not the cessation of suffering, like forevermore, but it is a cessation of suffering. Now, the mind could be quite free, and there's stuff kind of going on in the body, but there's a whole lot going on in the body with tension and holding that has a intimate relationship to our mind state. So, so it is, it is a reflection of how skillful or profoundly skillful or free our mental state is. So, and we have the blessing of having a body, because it's easier to be kind of mindful of that than it is of subtle forms of holding in the mind. So it's a place where the symptoms of suffering can be apprehended, or where they kind of manifest. So, and even if it's not, it's dukkha vedana, and if there's things we can do to release ourselves from dukkha vedana, then that's good too. Well, good morning, Zuri. I've read that it's an offense for a monastic to disclose one's attainments to a layperson, yet I've recently read quite a few instances where monks fairly clearly talk about attaining nibbana. Yeah, that does happen from time to time. Let's see, there's a follow-up. I won't name any names out of politeness, but quite a few respectable figures in the tradition. I find this confusing. Do you have any insights on this? What do you mean by tradition? Like Pali tradition, Theravadan tradition, or are you talking in particular about Ajahn Chah monks? Most of the monks that I know of, and my teachers, are very scrupulous about not making such claims. In fact, most monks even shy away of claiming that they have jhanas because of some of what's there in the text. Like jhana is considered a super normal state. So, and there's a strong sense in the Ajahn Chah tradition, not just to honor the Vinaya, which does say that a monk should not reveal any attainments to a layperson that one has attained. So even if it's true. If it's untrue, it is a disrobing offense. It's parajika. You're expelled from the Sangha. You're not rightfully fit to be a bhikkhu or a bhikkhuni anymore if one falsely claims attainments, but even true attainments are not to be declared. And yeah, I'm not quite sure who you're talking about, Zuri, but that's there. It's very clear in the Vinaya. And, there's a whole culture amongst the communities I've trained and lived in. It seems to go beyond the rule and really honor the spirit. Like the Buddha didn't want monks to be developed like a cult of personality, or people to be overly focused on a particular person or their attainments or their particular skills. He wanted them to be focused on the Dhamma. And even to a certain extent, he himself kind of holds the Dhamma up as our guide and the thing to orient oneself to. Like after his enlightenment, he's reflecting and he thinks, it's wonderful to have something that to bow down to and to hold up and to revere, something that is superior to one. And now that I've attained enlightenment, there's nobody in the world that I can do this to. And it's almost like, it almost has a little bit of a sorrowful note as he's reflecting like this, like, oh, what a loss that I don't have a hero, or I don't have a teacher in a sense. And then he reflects that the Dhamma will be that for him. So, and I've been very appreciative ordaining in the Ajahn Chah tradition, because there is an emphasis not to set ourselves up as gurus or develop any sort of cult of personality, and really just to keep people focused on, growing in faith and goodness and understanding of the Dhamma. So it's raised a little bit of a red flag when you see people claiming attainments, especially claiming nibbana. So, but it's kind of tricky. Okay, well, I think I'm going to leave it at that today. Wait, one more here. George. I see one more kind of question here. Can you please speak to listening and hearing the cries of others while cultivating compassion and practicing loving kindness while letting go? Well, I'm not sure where you're going with that, George. I mean, you want to keep the heart open and not shut down sort of in the face of people's pain. And the cultivation of compassion and loving kindness, it does take a sense of acceptance of people's karma and situation and propensity for people to suffer. It needs to be balanced with a sort of sense of equanimity. Compassion is not pity. Compassion is this kind of loving state in the presence of somebody who's in suffering. So, and it's a well-wishing. So, in brief, like that's my encouragement on that. So, okay, friends, I'm going to wrap this up. Try to keep to my regimen of keeping this at a half hour, and I have some things to attend to this morning. So, may you all be well, and hopefully this provides a little nourishment and reflection for you today. Think about those qualities of mind, and bring to mind, be mindful of the taste of release. And where it is that things are tight, where it is that things bind us, where it is that we're hung up, and get yourself free. So, and it's not always as easy as just dropping something or letting go. Sometimes we need to kind of take some time and go build conditions, plant some seeds. So, all right. Be well, friends, and we'll see you tomorrow.